Hello. Today we're going to be talking about the stage versus the screen. And screen can mean both TV and movies. And here's my first introduction picture. This is a picture of Matthew Broderick, who maybe you know, I don't know what movies you guys have seen, but he was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is probably his most famous role, I guess. And then he's also a huge stage actor. He's been on Broadway a whole bunch of times. And yeah, this is from Nice Work If You Can Get It. So he's one good example of somebody who goes back and forth. But he likes them both. All right. So normally we would play a game in class where I would read the definition. We'd go through a category like audience, which is our next one. And then I would ask a question and you'd tell me if it's stage or screen. You'll also have your test questions like this. Most of your tests are true, false, but there'll be fill in the blank portion, and I'll say its answer is either stage or screen, so you'll know exactly what to put. Anyway, so let's get started. We're talking about the audience. The question is, you can pause, rewind, or walk away. Answer. This is the screen. In the stage, performers can hear you and often see you. What you do as an audience member can affect them. This is super true. Like, if your cell phone goes off in the middle of the show, like, honestly, please turn off your cell phone, especially if it's like Who Let the Dogs Out and it's really distracting and you're watching a period piece. That will definitely it might not throw them off. If they're a good actor, they'll just be like internally fuming and then like move on, but don't do that. I always think it's funny, but don't do it. Okay, next question. Still talking about the audience. There is no system in place, and a viewer sees this. They are taking a chance on content. This is the stage. In the screen, there is a rating system and many previews to prepare the viewers for what they may see. So what this means, it's like the PG, PG-13, and rated R. So kind of, you're not going to go take your child to an R-rated movie because there's probably swearing and a whole bunch of stuff you don't want in there for them to see. So, but with theater, you can't really... we don't really tell you. We basically just tell you if there's like strobe lighting, but that's it. And if there's smoke or really like gunshot noises. So like there's a couple things we tell you, but there's no rating. And an example of my pictures here, Matthew Broderick again. I did a show last summer called Sylvia, and it's about a guy and his dog. And there's like a whole scene where the dog, she's played by a girl, but the dog sees a cat. And she starts swearing and dropping like a whole bunch of F-bombs and like saying a whole bunch of like super rude, kind of a little bit borderline disgusting things about how she's going to like mess up this cat. And one audience member, and this play was written in the 90s. And actually, fun fact, Sarah Jessica Parker was the first person to play the dog. And she's like, she has the thank you in the beginning of the play, but not the point again. So this one older patron wrote to us and was like, to the company, and was like, why would you have this? This is smut. You need to take out all of the swearing. And you can't take out the swearing because the play was written in the 90s. We'll talk about copyright in a little bit, but it was still under copyright and you can't change it. So he was just very mad. But we didn't warn him because we don't have a rating system. All right. Next, still talking about the audience. There is an energy in the room between the audience and the actors. They use it in their performance. This is the stage. If you love the show and you're clapping and laughing, that will fuel your actors. A lot of times when we have like dress rehearsals where there's no audience, it's just like people who've worked on the show and it's just kind of like run through to make sure we have the show correct before we let people come see it. Actors, they kind of lose some of their like momentum and energy because they have nothing to play off of. But the minute we get an audience in there and they're laughing, they're just like hamming up and they're like having a great time on stage. So that really helps. And also the opposite, if people aren't feeling it, especially if like one night people love the show and then the next night nobody's laughing at anything, that can actually hurt an actor and they'll be like, what am I doing wrong in my delivery of this performance? Which, nothing. It's just different night, different people. I don't know what everybody's gone through that day. But for the screen, there is no communication between the viewer and the screen. So they don't need our energy. Although I talk at the screen all the time, so, I try. Quote time from Al Pacino, The Godfather. We're tightrope walkers. When you walk the wire in a movie, the wire is painted on the floor, but when you walk it on stage, it's 100 feet high without a net. So Al Pacino is a good segue for us to start talking about the difference between acting and stage and screen. First question. There is always a backup. If an actor can't sing, dance, or do stunts, someone else can fill in. And this is the screen. Here's a picture of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The whole premise of the movie, well, not the whole premise, but a big premise of the movie is that Leonardo DiCaprio is the actor and Brad Pitt has been his stunt double for all of his career. So yes, you can have stunt doubles, you can have like dance doubles, you can have singing doubles. A lot of times people who are in the musical version, like Zac Efron in the first High School Musical movie, he couldn't even sing, but they're like, we need Zac Efron. So he didn't sing Troy or whatever, that first movie. So yeah, but on the stage, there is no substitution. Question. They have to memorize thousands of lines of dialogue and long speeches. If they forget a line, there is no one there to help them. This is the stage. Yep. I don't know. It's live every night, and you got to remember it night after night, and you really can't. You can't mess up. It's so bad. I don't know if you've ever seen anything, but when an actor forgets a line or drops it or like doesn't know their line and another actor's trying to feed it to them and there's like they're just on stage and I always feel so bad and I'm like, I can't help you, and they always figure it out, but you're just like, gotta get it, you guys. So, but for the screen you don't have that. Okay, screen actors don't have to remember as many lines and focus on the scene that they are shooting, and this is true, especially like soap opera actors. They have a lot that they have to do, but they get that one scene that they do that day, and then that's what they do. And then you forget it, and you never have to think about it again. Great. Question. Actors spend years training their voices to fill large spaces without the help of microphones. Answer. Stage. Because of sound equipment on set, screen actors don't have to project. I don't know. I have no example for this. This is just true. All right. Question. These actors are allowed to fail, meaning they have many takes to get it right. This is screen. So I'm going to give an example. There is The Shining, and there's this scene where Jack Nicholson is coming up the stairs, and he's like, I think it's the first time you see him go insane, and his wife is trying to bat him off with a bat. And it took 127 takes to get this scene right. I mean, Stanley Kubrick he was a hard ass on the way he directed anyway, and kind of a perfectionist. But it took 127 times to get it right. And also, it's been rumored that Stanley Kubrick and Jack Nicholson were kind of mean to her, and they kind of created a boys' club. Jack Nicholson also just got a divorce, and Stanley Kubrick let him do this, like direct the scene and act in it. So I feel like he was coming with her with like full fury. I'd be scared too. Anyway, but stage actors have to get it right the first time and continue to do it night after night. There is no safety net. And this goes back into like every night you have to perform it, and if they don't remember their line on stage and they're struggling, that's their problem. They have to figure it out. Just a little thing about acting that I like to include, because I told you the book gets a little bit mean. Not that acting on screen is easy. Scenes are shot out of order, and it can be hard to switch gears. This is true because maybe the way the filming schedule goes, you have to film your like tropical scene where you like run away from the getaway car and it's actually in Hawaii, but like you can do that only the first week of filming, so you don't get that like build up to what happened before in the production, in the film. So you're just kind of like going in and you're like, all right, I'm in the middle of the movie. How am I going to act? With theater, we try to do everything in order, so then you can always be like, hey, what was I doing in that last scene I was on stage? What happened to me between point A and point B to get me here? So it kind of like, I think it's helpful to the actors to do it that way instead of just being like, here you go. You're in the middle of the ocean running away from somebody. I'm not giving a specific movie example, I'm just saying. So that's hard. And then if anybody's seen To All the Boys I've Loved Before, I read that the hot tub scene took 8 hours to shoot and get right, and like it was 8 hours in that one day, and so those two actors were like in that hot tub for 8 hours, and like that would be really uncomfortable. That's a long time to be like wet, and there's like fake snow and like stuff around you. It's just like that's rough. So neither of them are easy. Quote time. Quote time. Acting for film is like a musician playing in a recording studio, and acting in the theater is like playing a live concert. This is by Willem Dafoe.